Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mind Body TV. I'm Dr. Kim Duramo, and I am a few minutes late, so sorry for those of you who are live here. Today, I'm going to share about how to be the medicine that heals your life. For me as a doctor, there's so much where I've been trained to fight disease, and go in and make corrections, or how we kind of see the body's broken and we need to fix it. It's one of the reasons I became an emergency medicine doctor and not maybe an internal medicine doctor, where you kind of learn about all this pathology and kind of help people through decades of their life, manage them with medications. That for me didn't make any sense. It's not my philosophy. It's not what I was interested in. It didn't feel really alive for me. But emergency medicine, I think, is a great place where we're using that model. If your arm's off, we can put it back on, or if your heart stops, we can get your heart to start again. But really, where do we go from there? Where does the health come in? And so much of the way I practice now is about supporting the health, assisting the health, and flourishing through the body. So of course, this applies so well with those of us who've had chronic illness or chronic pain or problems over a long period of time, where it's like nothing is helping me, nothing's getting better. So what is required for that to shift, for us to come into the expression of our highest level of health and vitality, is an inner alignment. Who and how am I being? What's happening within me? How do I feel, and how do I feel about what I feel? And this inner alignment is really what allows us to receive health, to receive vitality, or if we're imbalanced, to receive healing. And we can't make it happen, no matter how hard we try to mind over matter, or I'm going to create this health. We can only open to allow it. And for most of us, there's way more available for us to receive than what we are allowing in. In fact, I would venture to say for all of us who are listening here and tuning in, there is way more for us to receive than what we are currently allowing in. So what if we could move into an alignment where we receive joy, love, abundance, bliss, freedom, all of the things that allow the body to come into greater resilience and to have ideal health. So that's what I'm going to be sharing about today, is how do we come into that alignment? How do we, what I call, be the medicine, instead of trying to find the medicine or find the right person or learn the right thing or do more and do better and eat right or take the right supplements and trying to do the healing, to actually be what's required for us to be, so that we can receive all of that truly makes our hearts sing. So welcome everyone who is here live. Welcome to those listening to the recording as well. I'm back in Durango now after having traveled a whole lot this summer. We had a beautiful, beautiful time with family and with friends, and my husband and I spent some time together and went to Europe and had an amazing vacation. And I'm always so happy to come home to Durango. It's beautiful and so peaceful, and I love that I live in a place that is really supportive of me. And for me, that's part of what I'm talking about here in this inner alignment. For a while, we didn't have the right home for us. I didn't even know how that was ever going to pan out. There was a lot of anxiety and tension about what's going on here. And we were kind of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. We were living in Boston. We kind of thought that's where we'd raise the kids and be near family, but nothing really felt right. And it was after kind of letting go of everything we thought about everything. And it took a couple years to allow that alignment to come in. There's so many ways I made myself wrong that it hadn't happened in the timeline I thought it should happen, or in the way that I thought it should be. But so much that we receive, like this alignment of finding your ideal home and community and the place where you live, or your partner, or receiving ideal health and healing, it's all about allowing. And so much with allowing means that we've got to accept and embrace exactly where we are right now in every moment. And that was really hard for me to do when I was living in a house I didn't love, and I thought, and I didn't see any end in sight. I know that's how a lot of you may be feeling about your body or your health. And that's certainly how I felt when I was trying really hard to like create ideal health and overcome my illness and overcome fatigue. But none of those things were the things that really work. And I'm writing my next book right now, and it really goes a lot more into this premise from a medical scientific understanding of how our inner alignment creates our outer experience. And no more is that more true than your physical body. It may seem like your physical body is your inner, but this is external. It's part of your external world, your physical body, your cells, your chemistry, your neurologic activity, all of these things that are happening. We can experience them as if they're happening to us. And we're kind of like a victim, and we got to fight really hard and work really hard and eat right and work out and do more. Or we can remember that we are the ones who choose to receive. So in our co-creation, we're not so much the doer creator, we're more the choice, the chooser, the receiver creator. And when I came into that awareness, everything changed in my body. I can allow myself to be in ease and grace and resilience and allow the universe to take care of the details for what that looks like. So I'd love to hear where you are listening from, and then anything that's happening for you relative to this. Where is there that desire to have either work that you love, or healing in your body, or a partnership, or like I talked about, home that's more of a reflection of this inner true self, more of a reflection of who you're ready to really be, but at the same time having a struggle with like, how do I create that, or what's wrong, or what's happening, specifically with those who are assisting others, whether it's, you're raising kids or your family, or you're a practitioner of some sort, whether it's like a coach or a healer or an energy worker or massage or a doctor or nurse that knows you would like more of a full expression of the abundance that's your truth. I will specifically be offering our Be the Medicine program. It's going to start in October. So for those of you who would like to work with me personally on that aspect, stay tuned for that. We'll have a couple of webinars that are coming up over the next month. And that program is all about how being the medicine, being in this alignment, invites healing in my body and invites healing for others around me. So I would love you to share on what has your experience of that been? Is there a struggle with this? Because so often we misunderstand what it means, or we misunderstand what creates this inner alignment. So if you just take a few deep breaths and receive what I'm sharing, it will kind of sink in automatically. Sometimes we stay in the mind and it's like, what? That doesn't make sense. What about this? And what about that? The mind has a million questions about everything. We can't truly arrive at a new understanding until we allow ourselves to receive it. And sometimes that means bypassing the part of the mind that thinks I need to already know, that thinks I'm too confused, I don't understand, it doesn't make sense. So just take a deep breath, relax your body, and remember that all is well. I have all I need. And when I can open to receive it, that's when there's this alignment and synchronicity, and things can come in and it can be effortless. So for me, Be the Medicine in my life has really been a path that allows others around me to function fluidly as well. So of course it creates fluidity in my body and how I get to feel what I experience, but very importantly, it's created fluidity for those around me and in my relationships. Anytime there's discord with my husband, or I'm like, oh, why doesn't he just get this? Or why is he being like that? Or I go into judgment or contraction in how I'm seeing him. I just remember this, Kim, be the medicine. I am the one who's here to allow the healing that I want to see. I am the one who's here to allow and invite the shift that I want to see in the world. Like Gandhi says, be the change that you wish to see in the world. So especially when interacting with others, one of the people on my team today just shared, I'm so triggered by this one person in my life. And what do I do? Now she's doing this and now she's doing that. And it's such an invitation always that, hey, today is your day, that this pattern is clearing within you, that this judgment you've held on her is clearing within you. And isn't that amazing for how much freedom it creates for you? So are you triggered? We've talked about this recently. I think I had a video on my YouTube channel, I think it was a couple weeks ago, about what it really means when you're triggered. I was definitely triggered from what was going on, on our beach resort vacation. And I'm like, oh, this isn't how it's supposed to go. And that just created resistance and friction and actually made things worse. And I realized, Kim, get into the flow of what's happening and be the medicine. You can show up to heal your life. You can show up, because what's the only thing that's ever missing is more of the light that is truly you coming through. Whenever I experience lack of anything, time, energy, money, I always remember this. I remember, can I allow myself to be more generous with me? Because if I embody that, I love and nurture myself. Maybe I just give myself a little mini massage, or I just take a few deep breaths and stop and buy out of the delusion that I don't have enough time or don't have enough whatever. When I allow that, it always is reflected. Like the situation takes care of itself, or something gets canceled off my schedule, or more money effortlessly comes in, and I just receive, because life is a reflection of me. Randy says, I've recently had a much deeper awareness that the areas I'm most desiring big outward changes, to finally get my business going, to have that great juicy relationship, to have the last pieces of my health, especially hair loss, resolved, all have an underlying very deep sense of shame that I can see I've actually carried my whole life. So I can see the gift in these things not changing yet, so that I can be present with this shame. But it feels really intense. This is beautiful. So what does be the medicine mean? So we feel this thing that's coming up, like, okay, I don't have the house I really want. And what does that bring up for me? Maybe it brought up not enoughness, or, oh God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm not further along in my life. I really should have it together by now. All these thoughts, ideas, and beliefs, and like energies and emotions. Same thing with what Randy is feeling coming up. And just take 3 to 5 breaths. Feel that energy. Where does it live in my body? Physicalize it. What do you actually feel physically when you feel that shame, or even the idea of, I'm not doing it right, I'm not good enough? Let yourself just experience it, because when you choose to allow the experience, that does neutralize it. So much energy goes into resisting it, fighting against it. And we don't realize that we're actually giving it its whole life. It doesn't have a real life of its own. And the same is true with disease. We think disease is this big bad thing. Especially for me, it was like chronic fatigue syndrome. No. I have to fight the fatigue. Otherwise, the fatigue, the disease, will overcome me, and I'll just lose everything. That was my fear. But I didn't see how I was feeding the disease. The disease was a reflection of my fear. When I finally sort of surrendered and didn't make that about succumbing, I knew I just didn't buy it anymore. I realized, wait a minute, life is actually meant to be way more fluid and easy than what I'm doing now. And I let it go. I could let the fatigue wash through me completely and fully. Breathe in, breathe out, relax fully, and the energy would always move through. It's because that's not my true state. Shame is not your true state. Fear is not your true state. A few weeks ago, we did the Facebook Live about fear, about the true nature of the body. And there's so much we don't understand about that. Yeah, it's our nature when we're in fear to lie and to cheat and to battle and to, everyone's out to get me. But it's not our true nature of our humanness. That's not our true nature. It's our true nature when we're in fear, that we do these crazy things, that we attack others. So then we think, well, this is human nature, so I need to be on guard too. This is human nature, so I need to protect my own back. It's not human nature. It's human nature in fear. And always love trumps fear. When you show up in this alignment to be the medicine, to know, how can I allow life to be effortless for me? How can I embrace fully everything I'm feeling, to allow that light to come through? That light is what dissolves all of these problems, all of these things that are stuck, all of the things that aren't working out, all of the illness, disease, fatigue, pain. It's the fluidity that your body requires. So way to go, Randy, and kudos. And yes, it's intense. But hey, you're a warrior of the heart. You can handle intense. Breathe more intensely. Breathe more fully. Breathe more willingly. Presence the sensations you notice more fully. So take those breaths and feel what you feel physically with anything that's arising. If you're a practitioner, this is essential. You cannot be the space that allows others to heal if you have not fully met your own pain. You cannot be the presence through which life can enter and bring that light of healing if you are not willing to presence the depths of your own pain, of your own despair, of your own shame. And when you are willing to presence these energies and allow them to move, it's unbelievable how you show up in your life, how much light that brings to others, how much that dissipates any of the like nitty-gritty relationship stuff that might be going on. Or if you're working with people, it dissipates the I'm taking on all this negativity and I feel so heavy. It dissipates the why aren't I earning more money? I'm working so darn hard. It dissolves all of these challenges because you're in a new energy. Okay, so Randy, you're 100% on the right trajectory. And once you have connected with that, feel those energies fully, breathe them with everything you've got. Bring in breath, bring in light, bring in love to what you feel within you. That's all it takes. It's really quite miraculous. Christy says, how do I separate myself from the triggers and transition into serenity? It's the transition point that gets me hooked into staying there and the intense emotions. How to detach is my challenge. So you actually want to, what I call neutrality, move into neutrality with everything you're feeling and everything you're experiencing. The mind will think, oh my gosh, but I'm feeling all this shame and wrongness. I shouldn't be feeling that anymore. Well, what if you just flip that? This is exactly what I should be feeling right now. And so this is exactly what I choose to feel and experience right now. That was on that video I did a few weeks back, what shifted the energy for me so quickly from, my husband's like peeing out his clothes because his luggage hadn't come in. And I'm like, oh my God, why are we at a strip mall when I really want to be at the beach? And it was like, he was getting more difficult by the moment. No, that's not the right one. This is not the right material. We have to have this kind. And I'm like thinking, who the heck cares? You're going to get your luggage in a day or so. Whatever old underwear is going to do. Let's just get it done and get out of here. But I could see immediately in that moment the tension I was bringing to the equation, because the pressure of needing him to be more light and easy about it, or needing him to like chop, 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 let's get it done fluidly, was like 90% of what was creating the tension that was having and not move fluidly. And that is so often the case, is like I am the one that's feeding the energy of what I don't want. So Chrissy, yeah, I was triggered and I didn't like it and I wanted the situation to change. But instead I began to see like, oh, it's myself that is the change. And can I just embrace where we are? One of my greatest osteopathic teachers had told me, Donald Hankinson, he's up in Maine, and he said, if you approach your patient like you have 5 minutes, it will take you all day. If you approach your patient like you have all day, it will take 5 minutes. And that's exactly what I did in that moment with my husband. Like, I get he's not my patient or my project or any of that. But if I allow light to come through, it will transmute what's happening in my experience. And it clicked, and I was like, Kim, let go. Say yes to this experience. Let him be right instead of trying to make him wrong. Let it be right that this is where you are right now. Let it be right. So for Chrissy, whatever you're triggered about, let it be right. This is exactly where I am and exactly how I'm feeling. And when I did that, there was more flow. That's all you're looking for, is like 2% more flow. So you're not looking for resolution and now I feel so happy. You just need 2% more flow. That's enough to let dissolution come through. And in that moment, I realized like layers and layers and layers of how I was seeing him, as like wrong. Okay, let's just say it. And a problem. But I began to actually witness this was a reflection of me, where I'd been treated the exactly same way. And where did I still buy into the idea that I was a problem or that I was wrong? And so could I just love him? Could I just embrace him? By embracing, what I was feeling right there. Jessica Sullivan, who assists with our social media stuff, had mentioned the other day, hey, Kim, you said this one thing in a group call about the only problem we ever really have is not being willing to feel what we feel. And I'm sure, we'll do a Facebook Live on that more fully, but if I'm willing to feel everything I feel, energy always moves fluidly. And so my life will always, things will always re-equilibrate, will always harmonize. And nowhere is this more important than when I'm assisting another to feel and witness their pain, to allow their awareness of it to be what shifts it. Because I'm holding this space, I'm holding this container for a space that allows healing. It's immediate. I had a session yesterday with this beautiful woman who's been experiencing a lot of problems with her thyroid and nothing's happening. And now the Synthroid doesn't work. And what do I do? My friends are telling me maybe it's just menopause and that's why this is happening. The Epstein-Barr virus was reignited and now I'm dealing with this infection again after 10 years and all this stuff going on. And it was really, really heavy. And if I can just hold the space for the despair she was kind of in as she told the story, without thinking I need to fix it or change it or no, that's not what it really is. It's actually okay. I don't need to do any of that. The wisdom is within her. But I do need to hold the space for myself to feel everything that arises in me as she's speaking. That's one thing most practitioners are not trained to do. How can I embrace my own pain so fully and so completely willingly that I can hold the infinite space for the pain of another? Because that is what allows the healing. Yes, I can give a person a pill and, here's the pill, here's the thing, here's the massage, here's the supplement, here's the diet, here's whatever. That serves as the transfer of consciousness, not holding the consciousness itself. And we've seen this millions of times with the placebo. You give someone a pill, but you have a relationship where they're willing to connect with the consciousness you're in. You can heal from this disease. You will no longer have migraines. You will no longer have diabetes. You will no longer have cancer. Fill in the blank. This has been shown to be the most powerful medicine. Why? Because the doctor is holding a space of pure love and possibility, and there's a relationship there. And that's been shown to be the factors, that there's a relationship of trust. The patient is willing to, quote unquote, believe the doctor. When there is that opening that the patient's willing to say, all right, I'm willing to receive this, there can be a transmission of consciousness. And it can happen through any medium that we want to play in. So for any of you who are practitioners or who are assisting others, let yourself entertain that. Let yourself realize that there's infinitely more possible than what you may have considered with the work you're doing. Rachel says, I struggle with allowing due to fear, as I have these limitations which have been part of me for years, such as if I eat this, I'll be ill, etc. I wish I could embrace allowing completely and letting go of the fear. But all you need to really do, Rachel, is embrace that you have this fear and embrace that you think it's stuck. You think it's bigger than you. You think that, or there's a conclusion that because I have this fear, therefore I can't, blah, blah, blah. It's okay. You don't even have to believe that anymore, but you do have to begin to feel what you feel. So where you're residing right now is a space of limitation. So it's like, okay, here's where I am, and I'm willing to be here fully. And I'm not saying you jump up and do a happy dance, but when I say to celebrate it is to be willing to be fully and completely in it without needing it to change in this 10 seconds. I'm not saying, yes, I'm so happy I get to live the next 10 years like this, but just give it a little opening of, I'm willing to feel this right now and let it have all the power I think it has, and not fight against it and not resist it and not think it means something it doesn't mean. So just be willing to be where you are. You're exactly in the right place. Jimbo says, hi, Dr. Kim. This topic is perfect for me right now. Same with last week. Feels like alignment. Woohoo. Niam says, please tell me why my intrusive thoughts are about things that aren't even real and why I'm so convinced by them. How do I best deal with them and make them go forever? They make me believe things about myself that are not true, and I hate it so much. Yeah, exactly what we're sharing here. What you resist persists. So why are you so convinced that them? Well, we tend to believe ourselves. We tend to believe people we respect, or we've kind of bought into. And if it's something we ourselves think, we think we're right. But just be willing to laugh at that. You're not actually the expert on any part of your reality. It's your inner wisdom that can come in and inform you. But just let yourself, okay, I have all these ideas that I have about everything. And I breathe in and I breathe out. It's okay for me to have all these ideas that I have about everything. And it's possible for me to expand beyond them just by acknowledging this. So Niyam, how do I best deal them and make them go forever? You don't need them to go forever. So by not needing them, not requiring them to go anywhere, you are more free. I can function and be all that I am. And sometimes I really hate, I won't say my husband because I don't hate him, but sometimes I really can't stand my husband, right? Sometimes there are these ideas and I know exactly where they came from. And I could fight against that, like my upbringing and all these ideas about men, or I can just, yep, this is still floating around in my mind. And my mind will be like, I can't believe he said that. He shouldn't be doing it that way. He should be doing it this way, right? Like he should be listening to me. But I don't believe that. Like I don't buy it because, so when you actually just feel your body with all the thoughts and all the ideas and you feel it, it'll either resonate as a truth of like, or it will be like, And when I go into that thing, when I have that perception of, say, my husband, right? Like he's my greatest teacher because that's my most intimate relationship. So that's why I use him as an example. There can be so much that arises there. But if I'm aware of like, how am I feeling? There's a difference between expansive and contracted. And whenever I'm having those thoughts, I'm feeling contracted. So I know it's not true. So I can just let it be as it is and say to that one, I love you, I love you, I love you, and let her think those things. Because the part of me that thinks those things is just the part of me that hasn't received enough love. When I'm willing to receive infinite love in the space of feeling grungy, it's very easy for me to release those energies. So I don't usually hear those thoughts anymore. I don't usually have the awareness or go into the pattern of being that one the way that I used to. It still happens, and I can be in neutrality with that. I can just let it be part of like, that's where I'm at on my journey. So you don't need them to go forever, but they will dissipate. And yes, you will be free from them the more you embrace that this is where you're at. All right, Emily says, more please. I do want to share the link for the program for those of you who are practitioners of any sort or wanting to be practitioners who are assisting others. The link for the program is drkimd.com/BTM. That's Be the Medicine. For those of you who feel inspired, you will know this program is created for you. I would love to assist you in that. I know there are so many things I was doing that were more about helping people, and it had like all these kind of problem children come in where I'm like, wait, who wanted help. And it's like, this is heavy. This is a big responsibility. Am I enough for this? Can I do enough? And it wasn't enough. But when I realized, no, I'm here to invite people into their wholeness, and I'm going to stand for the knowing that you already are whole, then it began to very easily and effortlessly awaken others. And it's the wisdom and the intelligence in them that does the work and the rearranging and the synchronicities and establishing their business or knowing how to set things up that would come into place. So all of these things can be created through us. And I could stand for that and be in that alignment. It was so much easier to practice the way I'm designed to practice. Okay, Doreen says, my challenge is dealing with the unconsciousness of others. My energy drains quickly and I need to withdraw and isolate to replenish myself. So yeah, I can relate so much with this because I experienced that as well. And it was really only the unconsciousness in me where I was doing that exchange that had me be depleted. So can I invite this trigger to awaken me more fully so that I'm willing to fully harness my energy, and I'm not willing to sort of subconsciously go into that arrangement of like, oh, I'll help you, or I'll lend you my energy, or having that exchange subconsciously. So then I was depleted. When I was willing to be more fully present to myself and more fully conscious, which really means feeling and transmuting all of the energies in me, all of the ways that I maybe believed I was not enough, or maybe believed it has to be hard, or I should do the heavy lifting, whatever all that was, I allowed it to transmute. So then those patterns don't happen anymore. My energy is harnessed within me, and I maintain it and hold it and allow it and embrace it. And that is the way that I assist others most fully. So that's what's coming up for you, is like, wait, where am I still in judgment about them, that they're not conscious? Because that's actually my judgment of what's happening within me. You don't need to hold the judgment for that. You can simply invite it to assist your awakening. Can I invite this trigger or this uncomfortable feeling or this quote unquote negative experience to assist my awakening? And that's where so much can happen. So I want to say thank you for everyone for showing up. I'm at drkimd.com if you would like to share others. We will be here live every week in the Mind Body community. Woohoo! This is the first time we're broadcasting it live in here. And I am so excited about that, this is what we're doing now. So you are welcome to invite others into the Mind Body community if they're interested, or this is something you think will resonate with others that you love. And I welcome those of you, again, who are practitioners to connect in with the Be the Medicine program and feel into whether that's a fit for you. Our YouTube channel is growing strong. We just hit a major milestone, and I'm so excited about that. So certainly subscribe on YouTube as well if you would like to continue to receive these videos, and certainly subscribe at drkimd.com, because there are a lot of very exciting things coming up and a couple webinars we'll have over the next month. So lots and lots of love to you and to everyone who's been listening to the recording. See you soon. We'll be here every Wednesday for Mind Body TV at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Lots of love.